Why is your blood sugar freaking out and skyrocketing if you're not eating any carbs? Keto and carnivore diets, and even fasting. Let's get into it. Welcome, everyone, to my very humble life. Yes, I'm doing a lot with these house builds and trying to juggle everything, and also to help my mom. But I digress. Let's go right on to why your blood sugar is freaking out. How is it possible that your blood sugar can skyrocket and you start getting fat on carnivore? How's that possible? If you don't eat carbs, why is your blood sugar high? Well, most of you who have been following me for a very long time know that the main reason why your blood sugar is skyrocketing on no carbs is because you're eating too much protein. That's typically, and not enough fat, clearly. So, number one, too much protein. Number two, not enough fat. And number three, stress. Oh, wait, there's number four, I forgot. And four, fasting. So, too much protein, not enough fat, stress, poor sleep, and fasting. So poor sleep and stress, they're kind of the same thing. The problem is that your body can make sugar out of the protein that you consume, and even the proteins on your body, or in your body, on your body. I have done so many videos on this topic saying that when you eat too big of a ribeye or too much ground beef, that the reason why you see your blood sugar spike so freaking high is because your body can only digest and utilize a certain amount of amino acids, especially if you're insulin resistant, which a lot of you are on carnivore or develop a worsening insulin resistance because you're not in ketosis. If we start off with the too much protein conversation, too much protein consumed converts back into glucose because your body is trying to use things as energy. Yeah, it's trying to. But you are not sleeping well, and then you're eating too much protein, and you don't have enough stomach acid. Your body is not breaking down the amount of protein. You keep stuffing down the gullet. So what doesn't get used gets stored as fat, turns into high blood sugar, and then is stored as fat. So if you've got insulin issues and you're eating a bunch of protein, you can actually continue to develop insulin resistance eating a carnivore and even a ketogenic diet. The idea of people's blood sugar spiking so damn high is another thing is nobody's eating enough fat. No one is eating enough fat. Well, seldom. Most people still are eating too much protein, and that whole protein and then fat. The fat is the most important part of your diet with any diet because it has vitamin D, E, A, and K. Some have conjugated linoleic acid, omega-3s, some fatty acids like in butter, like the high levels of vitamin D, or the omega-3s in butter, or the D in egg yolks for those who need D for the thyroid. You guys are relying on these stupid toxic pills, or the K1 and K2. Stupid toxic pills in your multivitamin, or why does anyone take vitamin D and K anymore? When you take K supplements, that's what you see in the blood. And it's synthetic, and it can be damaging to your kidneys. Instead of getting some sun or eating foods high in D, because it's really about sun and the foods combined. Let's talk about sleep. If you don't sleep, like if I stayed up till 4 o'clock in the morning tonight, my insulin's not going to work well. And I'm not going to be in fat burning. I don't care if I've been in ketosis for years. I'm going to be in fat storage mode. So my blood sugar is going to start to bounce, blah, 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 blah. Insulin's not going to do its job. And everything that I eat, everything converts into fat because my blood sugar is going to be running too high or jumping around it, and I will become dysglycemic if I don't sleep well. Just one night makes you insulin resistant and you become a fat storing machine. Yeah. It's another reason why your blood sugar spikes so high is because of the lack of sleep. A lot of you guys are experiencing the DONS phenomenon and having a glucose dump in the morning, but that's not normal. You shouldn't have a dump of glucose and see your blood sugar over 100. It shouldn't even be over 89 to be ketotic. And I got people who have their blood sugar at 120 or 200, and they are so happy to have their blood sugar in the 90s. But guess what? With blood sugar in the 90s on a ketogenic or carnivore diet can still make you so dysglycemic, and it can start affecting your thyroid. Because with 90 milligrams per deciliter, you can't get into ketosis. You can't. The blood sugar is too high. Why is it going to use ketones when there's so much sugar in the blood? And that sugar in the blood is not enough to store in glycogen storages. And that's why you got to pick and choose. Either you do carbs or you try to be ketotic, but you can't do both. Well, can't I just do keto on the weekends? No, you can't. Because it takes months for the body to develop the enzymes to break down fat and utilize it and convert it into fatty acids, ketones, via the liver. It takes months. So if you keep flip-flopping during the week, the body's just going to be in a carb zone or carb burning mode, and that's it. And you're going to have that bouncing blood sugar, and it's going to spike pretty high, even if you eat like high fat and then low fat, and then high fat and then low fat. Now, if you're doing low carb, high fat, that's going to be still starch-based, sugar and starch-based, just lower. And the fat's not going to be 200. It's going to be closer to 100 to 120. But that's when your body's glucose dependent. When you're trying to drive ketosis, that blood sugar's got to be between 75 and an 83. Where did I get 89 from? That's not even the year I graduated from high school. It was 85. 75 to an 83 with ketones between a 1.8 and a 3.0. If your ketones only tested in the morning on an empty stomach, also, are in the 4s and 5s, you're not using them, and that's useless. If your glucose is that high, check your blood sugar, because I got the idea from this video with a client I had a few days ago. She's like, oh, my ketones are like 4.5, and I was like, what's your glucose? In the 90s. You're not in ketosis. You're making the ketones. You're not using all of them. Blood sugar too high. But you're not diabetic high. You're just metabolically inflexible and damaged high. And we don't want to be that. Because if you're trying to fix your thyroid and your leaky gut and your poor sleep and your diverticulitis or your fibromyalgia, that blood sugar's got to be 75, 83, and ketones 1.8 to a 3.0. Which leaves us with the last one, stress. I mean, I have to also include histamine can spike your blood sugar, but I kind of glob that together with stress. It's not just emotional stress, it's physical body stress. It can be chemical, it can be histamine. Histamine spike your blood sugar, people. Bumping your elbow spikes your blood sugar. Arguing with someone, not going to bed early enough, not sleeping deep enough, chemical exposure, spraying of our water quality, fluoride in the water, pharmaceutical, that's another one. There's more like 6 of them. Yeah, if you're on medications or supplements, those things can spike your blood sugar. Histamine. Egg whites. If you have an egg allergy, look at your blood sugar. It's going to spike. If you have a legit and you're getting bloated, look at your blood sugar. It's either spiking or it's spike dropping. We want stable blood sugar. We don't want blood sugar to do this. So the reason why your blood sugar is spiking on carnivore diets is because of these reasons. Stress, not enough fat, too much protein, histamine, supplements you might be taking, coffee you might be drinking, fasting. Fasting is the worst. That's a gluconeogenesis hypoglycemic clusterfuck of a mess waiting to happen. Because food is not bad. It's the wrong foods. It's the toxic worlds that we live in. Food is energy, and it's tools to fix the car, and that's it. Why people think that fasting is going to create autophagy when it's only a theory and it's not a proven fact, and all of these people who are fasting, who haven't become zealot and cult-like, start to see that they're aging fasting because they're going into gluconeogenesis, and that is a fact. Get a glucometer, start tracking your blood sugar. Watch it bounce like a ball, and that creates cortisol latent body. It's interesting with histamine and people not learning how to find out what is driving their blood sugar. Is it stress? Is it life stress? Is it relationship? Is it histamine? Is it the fact that you're dehydrated? Like anything can spike your blood sugar. So take note, because once you start drinking enough water, balancing your electrolytes, when you start not eating too much protein and upping your fat and not counting olive oil as your ketogenic fat or MCT oil, which is garbage, when you get off of medications and you're not on metformin and you're not on Synthroid or levothyroxine or any of those things, or SSRIs, or God knows how many meds people are on these days and don't take the statins, you will literally start to see your blood sugar normalize. Go to bed early, put your feet on the ground, follow a circadian rhythm, ground, breathe, exercise, eat high quality foods, because non-organic, non-grass-fed can make your blood sugar spike. I know it's a lot, but if you're serious about your health, it'll be worth all the investment. Just like my little house, spending my whole savings, but it's a good investment because I found a home, and that's where your heart is. Comment below if you guys are having bouncing blood sugar, and if your ketones suck. Ketones too low, not making enough. Ketones too high, not using it. Blood sugar high, ketone non-availability. You cannot use ketones when your blood sugar is too high. You can make ketones, but you're not going to use them. They're going to end up in the toilet. You can use a little bit, but that's not enough to not put pressure on the thyroid. Why is your blood sugar spiking on protein? Protein's converting back into glucose. Stress is converting the muscle into glucose, which is proteins. Stress, low fat, not enough fat, poor sleep, gluconeogenesis. Stress, gluconeogenesis. Histamine, gluconeogenesis. It's crazy. Learn more. We need We need gluconeogenesis, but it has to be in the right timing and secretion of cortisol. We just can't be constantly in a state of stress and cortisol, because it will break down the body. You won't be able to sleep deep. Your body won't heal, and you won't get into ketosis, and your blood sugar will continue to spike. And if your blood sugar is spiking and you're insulin resistant, you can't build muscle. Body fat goes up. Insulin must be sensitive for insulin to drive protein into the muscles so they'll grow. And I'm out. Comment below. My Instagram is Stephanie Ketogenic. My Facebook fan page is Stephanie the Business Person. I do consultations through stephanieperson.com, and you can also sign up for my course where I cover all 3 diets. I'm starting to get more low-carb, high-fat people because they're not adapting. Their gallbladder's jacked up, and they're not adapting. They're not getting into ketosis, and they can't regulate things. They feel great at first, and then they start feeling bad on these diets. So if you need help, go to stephanieperson.com, and I'm out. Facebook fan page is Stephanie the Business Person. Instagram is Stephanie Ketogenic. And yeah, I'm 57 now, and I love it, and I have the energy, and I'm very excited. But because I'm 57, I created stupid channel names. Yeah, and I'm out. Peace.